announcements real quick while everybody's kind of getting through the glitches of signing in. And first off, the next class, Carrie's going to be on Thursday night at 6:30 Pacific time. She'll be creating for you a Father's Day project, since Father's Day is coming up here in a couple weeks. Art Venture, if you guys have not checked out the Art Venture events we have for 2015, make sure you go to the events page on Prima's Facebook page. If you go to events on their page, click there, and it'll show the Art Ventures we have coming up. We have Art Venture in California, January 6th and 7th. Here, I'll point this up so you can see my mug, if my camera will stay. Okay. And let's see. We have the 6th and 7th right before CHA. We have 5 amazing teachers coming and teaching workshops for you guys with brand new CHA products. You're going to be some of the first, besides the Prima team, to get your hands on the product. And let me just tell you, I'm excited with what you guys are going to be using, so I can't wait for you guys to see. Prima always does, if you haven't been to a Prima Art Venture event, make sure to check out their new page. We have an Art Venture page or group for you to join as well, so you could see all pictures from past events. You could see the goodie bags. Oh my gosh, the goodie bags alone are worth going for, in my opinion. But so we have the Art Venture in January in Anaheim, California, and we also have Art Venture Atlanta in October 18th and 19th. Registration's now open for that, and we have payment plans for both, so don't think you have to come up with the whole amount at once. We definitely make it easy for you to come and join the events. Now for that event, Steph Miller, Sharon, and Ken Oliver, he's a gem, let me tell you, I love that guy. They will be teaching at Atlanta. So they're going to be giving you workshops, make and takes, goodie bags. There's going to be a lot of, it's a lot of fun. I'm glad they're putting one towards the East Coast. And again, if you want to sign up, go to the events page on Prima's Facebook and find the links. You can find the links there for registration. Also, we have a contest currently going on. If you haven't seen it yet, if you post videos of you using Prima flowers with your color bloom sprays, and you tag it to Prima's Facebook or Twitter accounts, tag Prima on them, you can be entered into win some bloom sprays worth $100. That's 12 color bloom spray bottles. And if you haven't used them, we're going to be using them today, but I've used these in classes for the last few months, and I have to say I love these sprays. I had such a hard time before trying to get them to spray with 30 plus people and having sprays clog. It was so nice to come across one that didn't sit there and clog every time somebody tried to use them, or after every workshop I'd have to take all of my lids off, all of my sprayers off some of my other sprays, and let them soak afterwards because people weren't spraying them the proper way. Well, with the color bloom sprays, you don't have to have the proper way to spray. With the new trigger nozzle, it helps all of that mica in the bottle push through the sprayer without all the extra effort. So we're going to go through those more, but definitely if you've got some of the color bloom sprays, make a short little video. Just has to be, make a tip or technique or a little project showing how you use the color bloom sprays on your Prima products, and share it with us, and you have a chance to win. Okay? So let's go ahead and get down to business so we can make sure we get both pages done. Alrighty? So let's go ahead and point that down. My new stand tripod is kind of wonky, so I apologize, you guys. Takes kind of some finessing on my part. Come on, stay. Stay. Okay. Ah! Sorry. I think I'm going to have to get a new one. This one is not working out. Okay. It's ticking me off. All right. So the first pages we're going to recreate are from a page I did in a larger book, but I really like the size of the Bloom Girls art book because it's a nice workable size. It doesn't get too intimidating, and you could get a art journal page done pretty quickly. So again, like last show that I did, I'm going to go ahead and tape my pages down. This just helps prevent the rolling of the paper, especially when you use a lot of art mediums. It's kind of cool because you give the pages a nice white border when you do this. And you can see my tape from my last show. It's still on my board. Okay. And one down the center. I just like doing this to protect that seam because we have the eyelets. If you guys have eyelet protectors, I strongly suggest adding them because that helps with a lot of the art mediums as well. So we have our pages down. Now what we're going to do is let me give you a look at the original. Now this one's a lot messier than what we're going to be doing, but this is what we're going to be working on today. I'm going to show you how you can layer the color bloom sprays, you can layer paints, you can layer texture, and it says, the journal in this says, not always pretty. Ain't that the truth? Alright, so we're going to have some fun with that. Now I think I probably taped these upside down, but that's okay. I'm going to show you guys the right way. Now, what I did first was I made a mask using some of my alphabets. We always have extras, or you have some that you haven't used and you don't know quite how you want to use them. I'm going to go ahead and use these on here. I'm going to press down pretty hard. I don't need it too much because I'm going to pull these back up once I'm finished with the page. We're going to go ahead and make art. You can make whatever saying you want on here. Just kind of showing you a quick one. Just find a T somewhere hiding over here. Okay. Alright. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use some of the spray. I'm going to use the peony. And let me use a couple art mediums to get my background built. Trying to find that page again to see what colors exactly I used. Looks like just the peony, to tell you the truth. I'm going some blue. Let's use here, let's do this. Do I have a blue color bloom? I don't. I use them all in my workshops and then I have none to use at home. What the heck is with that? We're going to go use Twinkling H2Os. So we have our color bloom sprays and our Twinkling H2Os. Let's go ahead and take the lid off of our color bloom spray. And the awesome part about this is you can also paint with them, which I love. No, I just started, you guys, so you're good. If you're just joining in, perfect timing because I just started. I'm cutting a water bottle, so I have a water till. Alright. So I have a little bit of water in here. I'm going to go ahead and dab it in. And I'm just going to light wash the background. You can even get a little larger brush, water brush, kind of add water to the background. This is another reason why I tape it, or this is the reason why I tape it, is so that our background doesn't buckle on us. Even really heavy watercolor paper, unless you get the highly expensive stuff, is going to buckle a little bit while you're working on it. So you want to make sure you have a nice steady background stable background that you can work on. So I'm kind of continuing that same look from our first workshop from last month. And I'm kind of just adding to it. We're going to use our watercolors. You can use the sprays as watercolors, which is nice. Creating a nice light wash to the back. We're layering color. I'm going to add a little bit of the teal color or twinkling H2Os. Ideally, if you're using the H2Os and you're wanting to use them on a project, what you're going to want to do is add water to the little well and let them sit for a little bit and then use them. But if you don't have time, you can definitely just add water and pull straight from the little pan of paint. Now, if you guys didn't see, I'm also doing an online workshop. We're going to be going a little more in depth than what I've been showing you guys. More of my color or my Bloom Girls. We're going to be using some of my stamps and a lot of art mediums, including the Color Bloom sprays. So if you guys haven't checked that out, make sure you go to my artist page. We have all the info there. Okay, so we have our little spots filled with the, there, that's a little better. Have the spots filled with our watercolor background. I'm going to go ahead and hit it with a heat gun. Now, some of the mediums may bleed through your papers. Now, my suggestion is if you know you're going to do some layouts that are heavy in water, I would automatically take the opposite side and gesso them. Just for the fact that it'll give you a nice finish to work on for your next set, and you don't have to worry about the paper or your project on the other side being ruined. This is from the Mixed Media album. I don't have one with me currently. I'll show you what the cover. The cover comes craft, and I did this cover on Prima's blog not too long ago. And inside it comes with these papers already started for you. And I'll show you a few of them later in the show. And they're an 8x8, and they come already pre-started. You can see some of the backgrounds peeking through there. So they're a great jumping point if you're into art journaling and you're just getting started, or even if you're advanced and you want something to just give you a point of, I don't know how to explain it, a little bit of, oh, what am I thinking? I can't think today. You want something that inspires you. A lot of these pages I want to create something that would kind of get you inspired to start a project. And maybe what's the design on the background will inspire you of what colors to use or what design you want to try to accomplish. Things like that. You can also use them as mini scrapbooks. I have a lot of students turn theirs into scrapbook pages. So it's a really fun size. Comes with a lot of different papers and a great way to get started. Okay, so we have our watercolor background finished. Now I'm going to add some texture to it now. And I'm going to use, let me see, where's my mask here? I'm going to use my little Donna Downey polka dot mask. I don't have the item number on it. It's been so long. As you can tell, I use this mask a heck of a lot. And I just want to add a little bit of texture. I'm going to go ahead and use the golden fiber paste. Let's see. Yeah. We're going to use a little bit of golden fiber paste. Fiber paste is a medium, art medium that adds texture. Has almost a paper type, like pulp texture to it. And you can add it on thick or thin. I'm just going to give a nice thin coat to a few spots on the background. Let's see, we're going to do it on this side. You don't need it really heavy. You want your texture to be kind of subtle when you get to art journals, because after a while it's really hard to keep all of your pages in one book. It's very different than a scrapbook where you have tons of area to expand on. Now I did add a lot of, I did want to give this mini album or art journal a lot of possibility for growth. So the spine on it is pretty thick. I think it's about 1.5 inches or 2 inches. Okay, so we just added a few spots of texture with the fiber paste. Now this does have to be dry and set before we're able to add art mediums on it. Here's the jar. It's Golden Gel Medium Fiber Paste. It's a flexible film and has handmade paper in it. So that's what the pulp and texture is bits of handmade paper. Yes, I use I use a lot of my old gift cards. Oops, I think this was hubby's. I use old gift cards. I save my hotel room keys. Whenever I teach, I carry a big stack of them. I had a friend recently give me empty gift cards to take with me. They come in really handy because once you're done with them, you can throw them away. You don't have to worry about if you leave them on your desk and not clean them right away, which is really nice because I have a really bad habit of that, of not cleaning up my mess. As some of you probably saw from my photo a couple weeks back of my messy room. The floor is clean finally. The table, I'm kind of working on the only clean spot left. Okay, so the fiber paste just really needs to be dry on the surface. We're not going to put a lot of pressure on them, but I want to give it just a couple more seconds, a few more seconds of dry time. Yes, fiber paste and molding paste. Molding paste doesn't have the same texture as this. It's almost like a gritty texture. It's got like a fine sand to it, and that's what creates the texture in molding paste, where fiber paste actually has more of a paper mulch feeling to it. Molding paste reminds me of the wall stucco, you know, that wall putty almost. Alright, so we're dry enough there. Next I'm going to add a few layers of actual acrylic paint to our piece. And I'm just using a Liquitex Basics. It's a really nice quality mid-grade paint. It's not the highest quality, but it's not the cheapest either. Liquitex makes very well-made products. And I suggest if you're just getting in or you're just using it for art journaling to use their products because it does work really well. Now I also use Blick Studio Acrylics, about the same. But we're going to go ahead and use Basics. I'm going to grab my card again that I just used. I'm going to put my paint right on to my page. I know you're all cringing. And I'm just going to swoop this out. I don't need it very fancy, and I just want to give a little movement to the page. Remember, it doesn't always have to be pretty. Okay. I'm going to actually spray a little bit of this now. And blend it and give it that nice marbled look. Alright, so we're going to dry this layer. A lot of drying. I hope my dry heat gun isn't too annoying. Okay. And the reason why it blends nicely is because we're taking a really fluid medium and mixing it with a heavier base medium. So if you try to mix two of your mediums or your middle base mediums like the acrylics together, make sure that you have colors that are complementary to each other. If you look at a color wheel, anything that's next to each other, like blue and red, green and yellow, you know, purple, blue, any of those will complement each other. If they're across from each other on the color wheel, and I'll add a color wheel to the Prima's Live with Prima page when we're done, so you can kind of take a look at it. Color theory is really fun to get into, and I'll be going into more of that in some of my workshops. But color theory is really fun because it's nice to see where you can take color to before you create a huge mess. Because believe me, you can create a huge mess. If I took this and mixed it, say, with an orange, it probably would turn out more like a brown instead of this molded look. So you want to make sure you kind of play with color too. If you're not used to mixing paints and things like that, just play around. Make a little scratch piece of paper and just start blending colors together. Alright, so next what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stamp my Bloom Girl. Alright, so she's the one, I believe that's Sophie. I always get confused on all of their names. Can't wait for you guys to see the next new ones coming out. I love them. Now I am using Archiver, Ranger's Archival ink. It's permanent ink. Because I'm going to be using more water-based mediums on top, I wanted something that I knew wasn't going to run later. So just stamp that really well, ink that really well, I should say. And then we're just going to stamp her on here. Now these pages are smaller than my original, but we could definitely do the same techniques and design work on this page. Okay, so we have our girl. Next we are going to use another stamp, and this stamp is a foam stamp by Donna Downey. She created a few years back. And the item number on this is 920500, I believe it is. Yeah. So this is the stamp we're going to be using. I'm going to use a little black acrylic paint. Let's see. Thought I had my black paint pen, but I do not. So let's find that black paint. Did I mention my desk was a mess? Okay, let's go ahead and use the black paint pen. This one's by Montana. One of the many pens you can find, acrylic paint pens you can find. Maltao is another one I really like to use. That's really, I've found works really well. Liquitex also makes a great brand of art markers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take bits and pieces of our stamp. Just paint over the top with your black acrylic. Now the reason why I'm using acrylic is once it's dry it's going to be permanent. Okay, so we're just going to paint that. And I'm just going to spring this out. Let's see, where did I paint that? Spring this out from our little head. Do a couple more sprigs. Okay. And if you need to, you can go back in and add a little bit of color to spots that didn't quite stamp. Since we're adding it on top of art mediums. My paints weren't really dry underneath, but that's okay. Okay. So we have our little spots. I'll clean that up in a little bit. Okay. Let's see, now what we're going to do, okay, one more heat set, and then we're going to add a few little blah, blah, blah. We're going to add a few accents with the gold paint. And the reason why I'm going to continue, and you'll notice, I'm going to continue using a few of the same art mediums through the series. That way, if you guys invest the money into the art mediums, you're not wasting it on just one art project, on one art journal page, showing you different ways that you can use them on different pages. I find that I sometimes will get excited about an art medium and then I'll use it once and it'll sit on my shelf for months before I even pick it up again. So I wanted to make sure that you guys got something that you use more than just once or twice. So the gold paint, we are going to be using the gold foil. We're going to be using probably throughout the series since it is a more expensive art medium. And I'm making a mess all over my desk. Paint all over my beautiful Prima mat. I told you I go through these so fast. They never last at my house. Alright. Okay, we're pretty dry here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some gesso, and it doesn't have to be anything, you know, fancy. It could be whatever you have on hand. I have some of the Faber-Castell's Design Memory Craft gesso. Just going to take a brush and give rays off of her. She's got too much on her mind. I know how she feels. Too many projects inside her head. I know a lot of us know how she feels. Okay. I'm going to bring some off of this side. And what's cool about the sprays, the Color Bloom sprays, since they're water-based, sometimes your gesso will reactivate that art medium and you get really nice colors blended in with your gesso. Okay. So we have our little gessos rays across the paper. Yes, it's gesso. Faber-Castell. I'm using Faber-Castells. You can use whichever brand you have, of course. Okay, focus, focus. She wants to focus on my stamp. There we go. I also use Liquitex and Golden, whichever you have or can find at your local craft store or art supply store. Alrighty, so I'm going to pull up my little letters over here. You're not going to pull up, are you? Mm-hmm. And you can always use these for another project, which is cool too. This A left the paper behind, so we're just going to peel that up. It doesn't mar your project, which is also nice. Okay. Ta-da! Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to use the liquid leaf that we used in the first workshop. This is classic gold. I also have brass. There's a slight variation in color you can kind of see on the camera. It's kind of hard. My lighting's not making this very nice, but we'll go ahead and just grab one of them. And I have a special. Now I do suggest if you are planning on using these a lot, you can grab any mask you have. We're just going to add a couple accent pieces across the page. Now I do suggest you put a paintbrush aside that you use only for the gold leaf. You don't want to waste a lot of paintbrushes. And what's fun is once you dip the brush in the gold leaf, it starts loosening whatever was on there before. So I'm going to put a little mask over her face. And I don't know why. Just sounded right. Remember, it's not always pretty. We're hiding her from the fact that it's not always pretty. I think I let this paintbrush sit too long. Almost done with this one, and then we'll get to the next one. So we're just going to add little accents. We're using our mask. I think I used the butterflies on the original one. You can add whatever you want. You can even draw something with them. I'm going to do a couple hearts on here. The gold leaf is made by Plaid. You can find it in your craft store over by kind of the woodworking and gold leaf area where the gold leaf paints are, or the gold leaf sheets are found. Let's make these into hearts too. You can even write with it. It's really fun stuff. Now, if you do want to wash your paintbrush out, you are going to have to use some type of paint thinner because this stuff is pretty thick and it is permanent. Okay. It's made by Plaid, and I'll show you guys the bottle so you can take a look at what it looks like. Come on. That's what the bottle looks like. And it's made by Plaid, and again, you can find it where all your gold leaf products are in Michael's or Hobby Lobby or Joann's. Alright, so that was that for this one. Like I said, it didn't take a lot of layers, but I wanted to show you a way that you can blend paint without making them look muddy and dark. And I think we accomplished that on this one. So let me go ahead and pull this page up. Ooh, we're doing good. Okay. Now, if I was just sitting this, doing this at home, I would just leave it until it was completely dry, but we're going to pull her up. And she's ready to go right into her art journal. Isn't that fun? Just a couple colors, some texture, and we added a full page in a half an hour. Okay, let's set these aside. They still need to dry a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and, ooh, I got gold paint on my clothes. Go ahead and start our next page. Okay. So this one we're going to do a little bit of jelly printing on, and I'm not going to use the Bloom Girl. This is the first set we did. If you guys missed the first class in the series, this is the first set of pages we created. You can find these in the recorded section of Ustream, or you can find it on Prima's YouTube page as well. So definitely look that one up, and you could see different ways on how we used the gold paint. We did some of the same techniques as we did on this one, just in a different application. So it's a good way to see how you can use those same techniques over again and get a different result. Okay. Also, while I have you guys, you were asking some of the pages that come in the book. And I don't remember exactly how many pages it comes with because I don't have the package in front of me. But here are some of the pages that come already ready in the book. Here's one of my Bloom Girls we added inside. Here's another Bloom Girl that we have. You can see. There's some of these little pre-made pages as well. This one says, "Create to your heart's content." Has that really mixed media feel. All of the artwork on these pages were hand-drawn, hand-colored, hand-painted prior to me creating them into a digital file. So everything in here is original artwork. You won't find it, you know, somewhere else. Hopefully you don't find it somewhere else. And you'll know that you're getting something one of a kind. So it's kind of cool. Same with my Bloom Girls. All of my artwork's original. And we don't play around, you know. So here's a couple pages. This one says create and inspire. Kind of see that one. I tried to give them, most of them, neutral backgrounds so they could build off of them without, you know, competing with anything too heavily. Here's another Bloom Girl. All right. Okay. I love art journaling because there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's all about how you feel. What you're feeling that particular day can create an awesome page, you know. Can create an awesome layout. Need to clean some paint off real quick. And you don't have to be afraid because it's yours. You could share it or you could keep it in your journal, kind of like a diary. It's an art diary. I love it. Gives you a little bit of freedom without anybody judging you. You know what I mean? Okay. So our next set of pages, let me go ahead and pick a couple. I want it kind of light because of what I'm going to be doing. Let me find. Because we are going to be using jelly plates. And I want to make sure. Here, excuse me, guys. This is going to be more of a very simple one. Oh, here's some more of the pages. You have this one as your little enter page. You have little Polaroid looking sheets. That's the busiest one, really. So that's what this book's all about. Now let me find those darn pages. Okay, let's go ahead and pick these ones. You can pick whichever ones you want out of the book. Doesn't really matter. Alright. So again, I'm going to go ahead and tape these down. Actually, this one I won't because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using the jelly print plate. And I want to be able to lift my pages. And put it on top of my plate. So what I'm going to need to do, okay, you guys can see the plate okay? Yeah? Now there also is another plate. Stampendous makes a creative palette for mono printing. We can also use this one out as well. And actually, let's go ahead and do this one because I want to show you how you could flip it over using the mono printing plate. Alright, so we'll put that one aside. We're going to use the Stampendous one. Either one you have. You can even make homemade ones if you didn't know that. Check out Pinterest. They show a bunch. Okay, so we're going to pull the piece off. Now this is a fresh plate. I'm not guaranteeing anything off of this plate because it hasn't been primed. Some of them they do. You need to kind of use them a couple times before they'll really give you a nice impression, give you a nice finish on your project. So this is the stamp we're going to be using today, but we're going to be using her and creating a negative by using her on our jelly print plate. I'm going to use a couple of mediums. I'm going to use the gold foil in Color Bloom, the Color Bloom spray. I'm also going to be using let's see, what color paint? I want to keep it kind of light but neutral looking. Let's see. We're going to be using yellow as well as just a basic titanium. It's kind of a cream white color. So we have cadmium yellow and our deep hue and then our acrylic. So what I'm going to do, as you can see, it's sticky. Hasn't been used yet. I'm just going to put a couple dabs of paint right onto the palette. As you can tell, this one's been used quite a bit. And with another handy dandy gift card or a brayer, let's go ahead and use the brayer. This is a brayer. It's a little rolly thing. We're just going to spread that paint out. May have gotten a little too much paint on here, but that's okay. You don't need a lot. You just need a nice even coat. I wanted to give a nice soft marble look. So we're just blending the white and the yellow together to make a nice soft buttercream color. You see that? Yeah. Okay. Now what you could do is you could take a mask. Doesn't matter which mask you take. Let's go ahead and find a little polka dot mask. I'm going to set that down in one corner. I'm going to take our brayer over the top of that and lift to create our own pattern. Isn't that cool? See our little polka dot pattern showing up? And in the background, it kind of gives it, I'm going to try to line these polka dots up, but it doesn't really matter if you do. Okay, so this is our first layer for our page. And like I said, we're going to layer these on top of them. So it's not as big as my page is, but that's okay. If I had more time, what I would do is I'd do one page, copy the technique, and do it on the other. But what we're going to do is we're going to just center these pages to each other. I'm going to put them face. Let's lift this up. Put these face down. This one and that one like that. And we're just going to center it on here, just for class purposes. Alright, let me clean off my brayer. I just grab a towel, run the excess paint off onto my towel. You could also use wet wipes, that works really well. Okay. Now I'm going to take my brayer and run it all the way across my pages. Black line from the stencil. There might be a break in the pattern because of the stencil, yes. The black line is just the background of my table showing up. You can see there's no black on the page. Let's see. Okay. So we have this first layer down. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and spray my mask real quick. Or my, not my mask, but my jelly plate. You can layer them on top, but this is just as easy. I just want to bulk of the color off. I'm just spraying it with a regular house cleanser. You can soak these in hot water and then it'll come right off as well. But I don't have hot water at my reach, so getting as much of the paint off as possible. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of our chalk inks and a little bit of our color bloom sprays. Because I want to tone this yellow down just a little bit. Make sure that the gold foil is one of my favorite colors of the sprays. I kind of have a small collection of them, and I'm afraid to use them, so I hoard them. So what I'm going to do, this is a new bottle. If you get a new bottle, make sure that you slowly prime the pump in the handle. You don't want to press too quickly because it does need time to get up into the sprayer. Okay, so I'm just making a few little spots on there. I just want to leave them just as they are. Okay, we're just going to put this right onto our page. And it's almost like a Warshaw. Is that what it's called? Warshaw test? You could play where all of the mediums go, which is kind of fun. Okay. Kind of toning that down a little bit. We can bring it over here and add some more of the spray in this corner. And some over here in this corner. You can still see our awesome little background. Wipe this down one more time. And now I'm going to show you how you can use the stamp as a negative. Now hopefully it works how I have planned. You know, sometimes you create and you have this idea and it works the first time and then you try it out the second time and it's a total bomb. Oh, I have a lot of those. I am not going to lie. At all. Okay. So I'm going to take some more of my titanium buff. I want to give my little girl a little highlight showcase area on the page. Well, you could probably hear my little guest in the next room. Can you hear her? Can you hear her? Okay. So with our little stamp, what we're going to do is we're going to just push down. Let me grab the brayer. Okay. Slightly just roll over the top of her. Kind of try to keep her in place, and I'm not doing a very good job of it. I'm going to do another little print here. And what it does, and it's hard to see on the video, that it picks up the paint from your mat. And you can use bolder stamps too. Let me find another stamp besides the Bloom Girl. I'm using the Creative palette at the moment, but it's a little thinner and it's more of an acetate. But there's also the jelly plates. I love using the jelly plates as well. The jelly plates are a little thicker, heavier based than the Creative palette. They're just different. They provide the same technique basically. They're just different substances. Also, the jelly plate comes in different sizes, which is really nice. It comes with this larger size, also with a 4x4, I believe. And then they also have a round, and they're coming out with other sizes too. They are coming out with a 5x7 and then a tag size. So keep your eye out for those. And again, those are the jelly plates. Now I'm going to find another stamp. I have a texture stamp. Let me find a couple of those. Here's my little chevron. So we're going to pick up some of that design with the chevron stamp. Okay. And what this is doing is just picking up that color. Kind of like we did with the same thing we did with the mask. Flip that over. And then take our brayer again and run right over the top of our jelly plate. or our creative palette. Now the creative palette's nice because it's thin enough to where you can flip it over onto your project. Okay, it's very hard. You can't see really the girl's texture, but you can see where, if I use the black, which would probably be a better bet, and I think I'm going to just to show you. If you use the black against this lighter background now, what would happen is you'd see where the stamp picked up the paint.